great. This is a Patreon request from Mike, M-I-C, not M-I-K-E, Mike. But Lee Harvey Osmond, which is so close to Lee Harvey Oswald, Fiddlers Green, the Tragically hip cover, live at Sirius X, I think. But yeah, I think this has a little interview to start it off with and then goes into it or after. I don't know. I'm sure there's a little interview somewhere. But yeah, let's go.
Rave on, Gord Downey. Gord was just a kid. Hell, we were all just kids in 1984. I first met him when I answered a knock at my hotel room door at the Prince George Hotel in Kingston, Ontario. And there he was, standing there with a couple of his high school buddies. It was the middle of the afternoon. We were drinking beer, playing cards, and that knock came to the hotel room door, and out in the hallway were these really fresh, young kids shuffling from one foot to the other. They told me that they were fans of my band at the time, the Florida Razors. They had seen us play at Dollar Bills, and they had bought our record. They were in high school. They had a band too. I said, "Oh yeah? What's the name of your band?" One of them said, "The Tragically Hip." I said, "Wow, that's a great fucking name, man." I think I might have kept them out in the hallway because, like I said, there was a card game going on, there was money on the table, some local colors hanging around, and privacy was of the utmost importance. So we talked through the doorway about music. They told me that they played early Rolling Stones, did some Monkees covers. So I asked them maybe if they wanted to come down to the bar that night and do a set before as like half an hour or 45 minutes. And do you guys actually have enough songs to fill a set like that? He said, "Yeah, sure." And I closed the door and went back to the card game. I didn't think another thing of it. That night, they all showed up, some of them younger than the ones that came to the hotel earlier that day. We brought them downstairs into this damp basement we were using as a dressing room. We gave them some beers. We smoked a joint. We kept them out of sight because they were way underage, and they all looked like Boy Scouts. One actually looked like a Girl Guide. We let them use our amps and drums and basically kept an eye out for them. 9 p.m. comes, and they get up on stage, plug in, start playing this really ancient British R&B. Songs that I'd never heard around the post-punk Canadian music scene, and they played them with some kind of awkward precision, like they had actually rehearsed. We never rehearsed, we just did speed. I was surprised that these guys were actually sitting in such a great groove, and I can't remember all the songs they played, but there was a version of Baby Please Don't Go by Van Morrison and them, and also Off the Hook by the Rolling Stones. I mean, who does Off the Hook?
Yeah.
Nobody around the Hammer. Nobody that I knew of, and it was fresh. It wasn't old geezer-style rock and roll, but these were basically children with guitars and drums playing this ancient music. And the singer was another story. He wasn't like the gob-soaked, foul-mouthed street corner knuckleheads I ran into trying to prove something. He was more exotic, kind of rare, not your average cock-swinging punk frontman, and he really loved singing those songs. So I thought he was really brave to stand up there in a room full of boozy-faced Princess Street rounders and allow himself to be exposed the way he did. He didn't hide behind ego the way so many of us did. And as Alex the Large from A Clockwork Orange would have said, it was like a great bird had flown into the room. I think that maybe he was just innocent. He was innocent then, and somehow to my eyes, he managed to stay that way, because when I think of Gord Downey in 1984 on that shitty little stage at the Toucan in Kingston, and I think of him a few summers ago at the Interstellar Rodeo in Edmonton where we shared a stage, I know that I'm looking at the same guy. A lot of us try to cover up what we are. But Gord, he acted out exactly what he was for all of us to see. His cells didn't actually change. His innocence stayed intact despite the 33 years between those two performances. And his bravery still raves on.
Coming in.
He reminded me a bit of Mick Jagger on the Tammy Show back then. He ended up as something that none of us had ever seen before. He was his own creation, and it was compelling and honest. It was a live wire. that burned a hole into our imaginations and voiced what would be the soundtrack to generations of Canadians, all Canadians who partied in kitchens and in parking lots before hockey games, songs that blasted out of car windows and DJ booths everywhere. Who won the Grey Cup in 1994? I have no idea, but if I was to take a guess, I'd say it was Gord Downie and the Tragically hip.
No. This tune's fire. That is beautiful.
September 17. For a girl I know it's Mother's Day. Her son is gone to leave, and that's where he will stay. Wind on the weather vane, tear in blue eyes sailing me. His Falstaff sings a sorrowful refrain for a boy in Fiddlers Green. His tiny knotted hearts, well, I guess it never worked too good. The timber tore apart, and the water gorged the wood. You can hear her whispered prayer from men at mass that's always lean. The same wind moves her hair, moves the boy through Fiddler's Green. No, nothing's changed anyway. No, nothing's changed anyway. Or any time today, yeah.
Yeah, this tune as well, and it shows you as well. I was thinking, because he makes it sound more like a classic track, but when Gord Downie sings, it sounds like, yeah, it really highlights how unique he is. But he's doing a fire version of it now. His voice sounds well good too, and the little passage from his book was well good. Maybe yeah, we'll have to get on some of his band. Um, but yeah, like this is just a great track anyway. Beautiful piano. Like I could just listen to the piano with this. Like I don't need the words, but the melody is just so great. But yeah, you can really hear the difference. Like his voice sounds more his voice sounds more kind of what's the word? Like he has a more blues folk kind of voice. Which is funny that he says he's a punk because yeah, the melody on this man. No, Nala, no. Go away. Go on. Bed.
He doesn't know soul, and there's nowhere that he's really been. But he won't travel long alone, no, not in Fiddlers Green. Balloons all filled with rain, as children's eyes turn sleepy mean. And Falstaff sings a soulful refrain for a boy in Fiddler's Green. For a boy in Fiddler's Green. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For a boy in Fiddler's Green.
Yeah, he smashed that cover. He smashed it. And that was a good little thing of Gord Downey and the rest of the band. Excuse me. You know you're not allowed to do that. What do you want, food or something? Alright, hold on. No. Nala. Nala. No. Sit down. Good girl. Stay. Yeah, fire. Fire. This whole video was. And kind of to give a bit of a yeah, a little more insight into Gord Downey. I mean, that documentary that I'm doing at the minute of his last tour of Tragically Hip. I mean, yeah, that's a very kind of insight into the man. But this was too, like that little bit at the beginning, and I think he smashed that version of Fiddler's Green. Like he really made it sound almost like I say, like a classic track. All right, hold on. All right, I'm gonna have to finish the video there because I've got a big crybaby down there. But that was fire, fire. Such a beautiful song as well. And he did a great version of it. But yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.